Well, I am just increasingly more and more disgusted with this world. I cannot wait to leave this world permanently. The increasing amount of low lifery, are just absolutely filthy people, just disgusting, poorly educated, just people who are non-functioning, animal abusing, filthy trash. So I went to a dollar store recently, and when I got to the counter, the cashier fellow with dreadlocks, he said, "Oh, I have my two dogs. Oh, I have mine with me." And I'm like, I didn't understand what he meant. But in the grocery cart next to him, as he worked as a cashier, he had two puppies, and they were about 11 weeks of age, 10 or 11. They were red-nosed pit bulls, as he said in his own words. I asked to hold one of them, and he puts her in my arm, and the smell of urine was just outrageous, just absolutely filthy, horrific. And I told him, I said, if you need me to take them for a walk, I will. I let them have a bathroom break. And he goes, oh no, I take them out. But I'm guessing that the airline carrier that they were in was saturated with urine or unclean. You just don't get that smell, overnight, or just with one, accident in the carrier. So, and then the girl had a scar on her back, and it looked like a burn scar. But he told me that the male bit her, and it healed over, so she's got this, 2-inch lesion. It looks pretty bad, but it healed over. So no telling what these dogs are in for. I just can't imagine the lives that they have led so far. And I guess because they're cooped up in this little carrier, which is really not big enough for one of them, and meanwhile there's two of them in there, while the guy is a cashier, no less. It's causing a lot of tension between the two puppies. I'm just utterly sick of this world. Now, this is extreme. I did not expect to see this today. This is just bizarre. And I guess he bicycled in or motorbiked in or something. He had a backpack, which was also in the grocery cart. But these dogs, they're not long for the world. They have no hope. They have no chance. Just like a lot of people, they have no hope. They have no chance. They're born defective, or they're born to really marginal or abusive parents. And there's just no hope. I mean, there's just so much trauma in this world, and there's just so much, so many unfortunate situations regarding children. And, people keep having children regardless of the fosters and adoptables that are available. Same with animals. There's a lot of them out there in shelters, and shelters are having an intake crisis because they cannot intake more dogs because people aren't adopting, and their spaces, their cages are full, and they can't take in dogs unless people adopt dogs. So these dogs, they're just mentally and emotionally ruined by this guy. And he said he bred them. He said he had the father, and I think there was 9 or 10 in a litter or so. And it seems like they're aggressive. I mean, if a 10-week or younger puppy is biting its litter mate, that's pretty serious. So, I don't know. It's just very sad to see things in life that you can't do anything about. And it's really sad to see people who are so marginal, just like this cashier, with just no standards. And I know for sure that my country has just been trashed. I think they call it the ghettoization of America. There's just so many people that are ruining the world and above what the rest of us are doing. I mean, there's just so many people who are devastating to this world. And these puppies, they don't have a chance. And, they're not going to be spayed and neutered. I mean, they may even impregnate, the first year. And they're disposable. He'll keep them for whatever, a month or two, or until they get too big to fit into his little carrier. And, they'll get hit by a car, or, they'll die of parvo. They didn't have collars on. I'm sure they weren't vaccinated. And, I think from the time I was 18, I knew all about animal care, pet care, vaccinations, early spay and neutering. And, it's not something I grew up with either. I mean, my dad, he did not spay and neuter our dogs. Oh, he actually dumped a litter of one of my dogs, just dumped them on the street down our road, and it was kind of a rural area. So, he was just ignorant, thinking that they might find a home. But, for at least probably 38 years or 40 maybe, I've known what to do with animals. I know how to take care of animals. I know what's, the responsible thing to do. You spay, neuter, you vaccinate, you feed your dogs, you use flea medication, you walk them, you housebreak them, you take care of them, you love them. And how does somebody in 2026 not know the standards, the basic standards? I just cannot live. I just cannot be in this world. It's just so foul. There's just so many low lives. And of course, they didn't ask to be born. I mean, the low lives didn't ask to be born. But how could you not know about animal care? How could you not know that this carrier was too small for 2 puppies? 2 10-week-old puppies. So the puppies were about maybe 8 pounds apiece. So they're going to outgrow that little carrier really, really fast. And I just, every day there's just, something or an experience or something that I've, been traumatized by. And this is just very insulting to me to see, these dogs in this condition. And, don't even tell me to call animal control. I mean, there's no animal control that works after 5. And animal control is full. Their hands are full. There's so many people just like this fellow. I don't even know if he's from this area. He had dreadlocks. I mean, maybe he's transient. I just don't know. Because he had a backpack. It's just not common at all to see a cashier bring their 2 dogs to work and put in a grocery cart. Does anybody else feel like the trashing of their country, just the trashiness, the low lifery of their communities, and their neighborhoods, their country, their state, their region. Is anybody else bothered with the utter downfall of humanity and the just crippling of standards? And I mean, what happened? I mean, the 60s weren't like this. The 70s weren't like this. The 80s weren't like this. Can anybody tell me what happened that just caused the utter detriment of America? And you know, it may have happened to your country as well, but I can only speak for America, and only Americans can speak for America. So anyway, I went across the street to get some beans from this Mexican restaurant that I love, and I had to wash my hands and my arms because that pit bull puppy was just filthy, and it stunk. It stunk more than dog smell. It almost smelled like homeless people smell. I don't know. I don't even know. But I got some chips with my beans. Look at this bag. It's just saturated with grease. There's just so many disappointing things today. And when I went into the restaurant, there was a different clientele altogether, and the family seemed to be loitering in their own restaurant, and had a bunch of children, like their own children, up at the front. It just looked really sad. It looked dirty. It looked trashy. You know, like 20 years ago, this place was decent. And then things changed. But I did get my food to go. I didn't want to eat there. It wasn't inviting anymore. And when businesses have their children and they parade them around in the front, it just doesn't send a good signal that it's, you know, a proper professional environment. And across the street, there was this there's a Mediterranean restaurant, and they actually had their child in a little, what are those square pens? They had a toddler in a square pen at the front of the restaurant. So I never went back there. I just cannot stand this world. I have like really different standards than, I just like professional environments, clean, quiet, you know, just more upscale. My country's just trashed. And my thoughts will be wandering to this incident today with the pit bull puppies. I don't know. I just don't know what to think. Just saturated in pee. Just absolutely unbearably smelly. And this early puppyhood experiences, just like early childhood experiences, last your whole life. Whether it's trauma or neglect or abuse or deprivation, it lasts your whole life. And these puppies, I mean, the best thing that would happen is that, you know, somehow they perish before they're of reproductive age, so they don't reproduce. And I don't think they're long for this world. I mean, if he's carrying them on his bike or a motorbike, they could easily fall off and just get hit in traffic. I could just see it all right now. I mean, these are just disposable animals. Does anybody else have any similar experiences? Are you just really fed up with how trashy this world has become? Please jot down your thoughts below, your thoughts, your comments, because I'm just really fed up. I just do not belong here.